This is the practical application section of the mindfulness module. So number one, a major reason why living mindfully is so important is developing the ability to stay in the present moment instead of mentally traveling to the past or the future, which often leads to depression and anxiety. Where do you notice your mind traveling that creates sadness or fear? Where does your mind often get stuck? For me, my mind is often stuck in perseverative loops of pain and grief about past relationships. I unfortunately have a lot of relationship trauma and abandonment and things like that. So it is hard to get my brain to stop thinking about that. So I have to really work on becoming aware that that's happening and bringing it back to the present moment. Another one that's very big for me is worrying about all the tasks that I need to do that I have to get done in the future. I feel like life for me is just literally a never-ending that's hard to say, task list of work and projects. And sometimes it's exhausting and it's hard to be like I'll just be going for a walk or something and I should be focused on just that walk and the animals around me and the feeling and the air and the beautiful sky and especially the beautiful Oklahoma sky at sunset and all that stuff. But no, I'm thinking I have having a running list in my head of what I need to do when I get back home, and it ruins all those moments. And so I have to really be aware of that. So for you, hopefully you have a physical copy of the workbook. And if so, you can write your answer in those lines provided. If you don't, no worries. Just if you have a journal or something with you, you can write it down on whatever. But try to ask yourself, where do you notice your mind traveling that creates sadness or fear? Where does your mind often get stuck? Because that'll help you kind of start to be aware of those mental patterns that you have. That's getting in your way of being mindful. All right, number two, you are not your body and you are not your mind. Ah, some of you may have never thought of that before. It's kind of weird. When I first realized that, it was like, oh, weird. Okay. Let me say it again. You're not your body and you're not your mind. You are the conscious observer of both, which means instead of becoming your thoughts, you have the option to take a step back and just observe your thoughts with curiosity and non-judgment. You can do the same with emotions and physical sensations. Instead of fighting against them, just notice them and give them some attention. You will likely start to see that they usually have a message that they're trying to communicate with you. To practice this, either close your eyes or find something still in the middle of your visual awareness to stare at. For 3 to 5 minutes, do nothing but just watch your mind and notice any emotions or physical sensations that may come up. You can see it as taking inventory of your internal experience. When you notice yourself get stuck in a stream of thought, just gently step back out of it and return to observing without judgment, without judging yourself for it. Over time, try to increase the amount of time you do this for. You can also take breaks throughout your day to check in with yourself to see if you are escalating in stress or overwhelm and in need of some positive coping skills. See, this is really what meditation is about. A lot of people resist it because they think they have to sit there and make their mind go blank. Like, that's not going to happen, especially especially if you have a hyperactive mind, especially the first several times you do it. So it takes a lot of practice. It's not about making your mind go blank. It's about observing your mind and becoming aware that you are the observer and that you are not your mind. Your mind is really just a bunch of programs, a lot of which is not even you. It's internalized programs of things you've heard from your parents or media or peers or your boss or whoever, right? So in order to really start to see what's behind all of that, the consciousness that is you, you've got to really become mindful of it, become aware of it. So watching it is a good way to do that. So being able to take a step back from our experiences and see ourselves without judgment, just awareness, helps us to gain more acceptance of what we're going through. We're able to start seeing that we are exactly where we need to be in each moment, even if the moment is difficult. Difficult moments serve our growth process. I have to remind myself of that all the time because I'm often in a difficult moment, but they serve our growth process. The darkness is important too. All right, so number three, another major reason why living mindfully is helpful is that it allows us to learn how to slow down and develop patience. The state of chaos and time pressure most of us are under in our daily lives triggers our body's stress response. When we slow down and allow ourselves to enjoy every moment instead of rushing through them, we are better able to turn on our parasympathetic nervous system state, which allows us to feel more restful, peaceful, and safe. When we are less stressed, we are better able to emotionally regulate, make healthy decisions, and interact well with others. What is your mental and emotional and physical experience like when you feel like you are in a rush and never have enough time to get everything done? For me, it is chaos. Chaos. And I feel like I'm there often, unfortunately, because I'm too busy, way too busy. I gotta fix that. But when I feel like I'm in a rush and I don't have enough time to get everything done, my mind, I can't think straight. I have ADHD, and so my mind, the ADHD symptoms get way worse. I get more forgetful, make more careless errors, just more hyperactivity in the mind. It's really not a fun place to be. I also feel really irritated, really frustrated about a lot of things. Um, Having a shorter fuse in those moments, and my body gets really tense. I struggle with a lot of like chronic pain, and a lot of it comes from chronic stress and just my body always being in a state of like tenseness because it feels like there's never enough time. I have too many things to do, and it feels like the floor is going to fall out from beneath me at all moments. So I have to really practice this part hard to just slow down and trust that everything's going to happen when it needs to happen and it's going to be okay. So for you, if you would, write in your workbook or in your journal or a piece of paper or whatever you got, what that experience is like for you. Right. Number four, we want to create a phrase or affirmation to meditate on to use to recenter yourself and practice mindfulness. What is a belief you wish you had that would improve your sense of safety and peacefulness? Some examples include everything is always working out for me, even when I don't understand how. I trust in divine timing. I'm worthy and enough. I can do hard things. Everything is okay in this moment. I am love or I am strong. For me, I really like everything is always working out for me, even when I don't feel like it is, because often it feels like things do not go the way that I planned them to go or the way I think they should go. But in hindsight, it always does work out in my favor. And so I've lived enough life now to realize that, and I have to remind myself of that. When I'm in the moment where it seems like things are not going well, I have to go, hey, it's still working out. Hindsight is 2020. We just don't know how yet. I also like to tell myself that I'm really tough. I'm very, very strong, very resilient. I have already survived a lot of things. And if I've survived all those things, I can survive whatever moment I'm in at that time. I just remind myself of my toughness. On a spiritual note, I also like to remind myself that even I'm often literally alone and like in the physical sense. Well, me and my cats. Um, I spend 90+% of my time alone. So obviously that can feel lonely and like I'm disconnected from everything. And so I have to remind myself a lot that I'm never actually alone. Spirit is always with me. My ancestors are always with me. There are always forces that I can't maybe physically see, but that I can feel if I tap into it that are supporting me. Okay, number five, mindfulness crafting. So creative projects with repetitive motions such as basket weaving, painting, crocheting and knitting, cooking, etc., can be very helpful for increasing mindfulness if you really mentally engage with what you're doing instead of traveling out of the present moment in your mind. If any of you are lucky enough to get to take a class with Miss Lily Drywater, our cultural crafting coordinator, then you get to practice some of this stuff. She is amazing, and I because I'm always so busy and doing so many things, I don't often find myself having enough time to like get into creating physical objects and doing crafts and things like that. And when I get to do those classes with her, or when I do crocheting or things like that, I really, really love it. So if you get the opportunity to go to an in-person walking and balance class where she's teaching, and there's other people that teach the crafts too, but she's our main one right now. Please do that. Okay, the next one is take a mindfulness walk. So find a safe place outside to go for a walk. You can listen to the sounds of nature as you observe your mind and body, or you can listen to positive music and observe how it affects you and influences your thoughts. You can also listen to not positive music and observe how that affects your thoughts. That would be good insight for you. Because music really does have a strong impact on us, so we need to be aware of that. Choose wisely what we want to put into our brain. I live, so when I'm in Tulsa, I really love to go for a walk at the gathering place. I do that as often as possible, and that really helps me a lot. Or when I'm out in rural Oklahoma, um, the land that my parents are on they have a really long driveway, and so I walk up and down that, and that's probably one of my main ways of regulating. And if you're able to do it, I highly recommend it, especially in moments where you just feel really emotionally overwhelmed or really like stressed. Sometimes you just need to go outside. Just go outside and move your body for a minute. It doesn't even have to be very long. All right, mindful eating. So when we eat in a hurry or while we are doing other things, we are more likely to have our stress response activated, which means our parasympathetic nervous system cannot turn on to help us properly digest food. Remember, sympathetic nervous system means fight. Wow, can't ever say that. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn, all those things, right? It's activated. Your parasympathetic nervous system state is your rest and digest. So that's where we want to be, hopefully most of the time, but especially when we're digesting food. So practice slowing down as you eat and really enjoying the full sensory experience of your food while breathing deeply instead of inhaling it and not really getting to experience it. This will allow your body to be at rest enough to process your food and will also help you get in touch with your body's hunger and satiety or fullness cues. This is especially important for neurodivergent people because we often are very disconnected from our body's internal cues. This is called poor interoception, fun fact. And so we really have to learn how to slow down and like notice what's happening in our body to kind of reconnect to that. Try practicing this at your next meal. It's helpful to not have your phone out while eating so that it does not distract you from being present with your food. You know what's really not a good practice that a lot of us do, and I'm calling myself out on this? Don't be watching the news or be on TikTok and watching disturbing things about our world when you're trying to eat. Just eat. Just be with the food. Just be grateful for your food. Well, then the next part we'll talk about gratitude practices for food, but just sit and be present with that experience instead of trying to just inhaling your food while you're doom scrolling. I know it can feel a little bit more boring doing it that way, but I promise they'll be helpful for you in the long run. All right, mindful movement. For many people, the word exercise brings up shame, frustration, boredom, etc. If this is the case for you, just focus on finding whatever movements allow you to be present with your body and find what feels good and joyful. This could be walking, jogging, dancing, skating, yoga, tai chi, etc. Find what you enjoy doing. What is one movement that you enjoy doing? For me, dancing. I love yoga too. And I have to give credit. The find what feels good, which is pretty much what I said a minute ago. Highly recommend. I think we talk about it in a different place too, but highly recommend Yoga with Adriene on YouTube. If you ever want to get into yoga, but you like don't want to go to a class or maybe don't have that available to you, turn on YouTube. She's got years worth of free videos at all links for all topics. She is so down to earth. She also has a really cool dog with her named Benji, who's a blue heeler. He's adorable. Um, just her energy is great. She's a good way to start your day or end your day or in any part of your day. But she just always says, find what feels good, right? Don't force your body to do something that is painful to it or does not feel enjoyable because then you probably won't stick with it. So um, but yeah, I love yoga, but for me, dancing is what I enjoy the most. And I just want to really emphasize that because I feel like as a people, we don't dance enough. We need to dance, y'all. Move your body, turn on music that you like and move your body. Yeah, we see this, especially for the more masculine people out there. Sometimes we feel like this is like embarrassing or too feminine or something. Oh, get over that. We've got to dance. Dancing is so good for the soul. Just let you, nobody has to see you. Just do it alone if that's what you need to do, but just let your body move, okay? How it wants to move to some good music. All right, spending time in nature. Any mindfulness activity that can be done outside is further enhanced, weather and safety permitting, of course. The earth is basically a giant battery pad for us to regulate our energy with, and it has amazing health benefits. Sitting or standing with no shoes on, or unless you have those earthing shoes, on the earth greatly helps ground and shift our energy. If you think that this is hippy dippy nonsense, my friend, nope, this is science. So I've linked here a good explanation of the science behind how this works if you are interested. Okay, next we want to set daily intentions for what you want to focus your energy on each day and redirect your thoughts to that intention throughout the day. This helps rewire your neural pathways in the brain to create new automatic thoughts. We also want to practice patience by accepting the present situation and trusting that everything will happen in the timing that it's supposed to, even if it isn't when you prefer. Remind yourself to live slowly and let go of the mindset of always being in a hurry. Trust that you are right where you need to be in each moment and create a mantra that reminds you to slow down and be present in each moment instead of rushing. Y'all, I've had to work on this so hard. I still have to work. I'm still not great at it, to be honest with you. I still have to remind myself of this a lot. I had a therapist one time tell me that I remind her of the Energizer Bunny. Like I'm just going, 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 always in a hurry, never stopping to smell the roses or do anything. And I'm like, yeah, it's just too many things to do. Like, well, you're just racing through your life, like, oh no, well, she said that, but she also said you live life in fast forward mode, you know, just like speeding through everything, trying to get everything done. It's like maybe we should also figure out how to enjoy the process, because that's probably what life is about, is the process and not really the end result. So just saying, I'm talking, preaching to myself on this one. All right, and don't forget about the note section at the end to add additional thoughts if you have any for this section. And if not, I will see you in the gratitude section.